Good morning, everyone. I'm really glad to be here today talking about my country, Yemen. Thanks a lot for ICD and thank you for Dr. Mark. We have a very good relation with ICD with a lot of previous events. Allow me today to talk a little bit about the culture in my country, then the culture diplomacy that we in Yemen Embassy have done here in Germany. Well, first of all, some few informations about Yemen. We are about 40 million population, more than 500,000 kilometers, in a very important and strategic location. We are in a half of Bab al-Mandab Strait, so this is a very important location. I believe recently we approved that. So one of the world's oldest civilization, home to 4 UNESCO World Heritage, and we used to known as Arabia Felix, Happy Arabia. We have more than like 60 years relations with Germany. Germany is really close friends to Yemen, always close to us, even in the difficult time. And in the difficult time, you know who are your real friends. Used to be the second biggest supporter for Yemen in development and humanitarian aid, the second biggest supporter. And we still have a very good relations in the political side and other sides. We're supposed to have some photos about Yemen, but maybe it's not ready, no problem. I was going to talk about some famous cities in Yemen, like Sana'a, the capital. It's one of the oldest cities around the world, 2,500, it's okay, 2,500 years old. Also Hadramaut, one of the first very high building in the world, in the history. And of course, Socotra Island. And I just want to ask you, how many of you heard about Socotra Island in the Indian Ocean? It's one of the very unique islands around the world. There is a lot of creatures only exist in Socotra. And there is no wild animals. Only the black widow is the only dangerous thing you can face in Socotra. So it's a beautiful place, and we still receive tourists until now. Even in the time of war in Yemen, we still have received tourists in Socotra. As I said, there is a lot of unique nature in Socotra, like the blood dragon tree, which exists only in Socotra Island in Yemen. Why culture diplomacy matters? I believe it's really important tool for diplomacy around the world, especially in Yemen, because we have a very difficult situation in Yemen. We are suffering from war with Houthi militia since 2014. Culture is the beautiful face of Yemen, and it is the true face of Yemen. That's why I'm really keen to show the beautiful face of my country. I spent the last years talking to my German friends here in Germany about the war, conflicts, challenges, but Yemen is much more than that. The truth of Yemen is the beautiful face, which is the culture face of Yemen. Culture diplomacy is important for us in Yemen, especially in Yemen, because we can promote a good image about Yemen. We can send a lot of messages in between the culture events, and we can build trust with our German friends, and we can keep the communication with German people, which is the most important goal for Yemen diplomacy here in Germany. We have done some cultural events, even though we had a very difficult to present some cultural event here in Germany. To bring people from Yemen was really a difficult thing for us. So just a few weeks ago, we held an exhibition about photos from Yemen, and we brought some artists, Yemeni young artists, to Germany. It was important for us that young artists to talk to the German audience, because they will not only talk about the photos, they will talk about the country, about the people, and they will present a very good example about culture in Yemen. So this exhibition also contained VR, so you can feel like you are in Yemen without taking the difficulties to travel to Yemen. We also showed here in Germany, in Berlin, with Friedrich Ebert, a movie called 10 Days Before the Wedding. It was the first cinema movie in Yemen. That was something really important. Maybe it's a regular thing in other countries, but in Yemen, this is something means a lot for us. We brought the director and the main actors, and we showed 2 times, one for our German friends, and that was a very good experience for them to see movie from a totally different part of the world. And the second thing was for the Yemeni community here in Germany, and it was amazing opportunity for them to feel the connection between them and their country. So cultural diplomacy is not only for our friends in Germany, it's also for our community. It's really important. Also, we had a whole Yemeni Culture Day that was in 2022, and we brought a Yemeni singers, Yemeni artists. We show some paintings from Yemen, and a whole night with the Yemeni songs. And we are really famous in Arabic world by our songs. So that also was a very good opportunity to show our art to our German friends. I believe this beautiful face and this very good, rich Yemeni culture facing the main challenge that the whole country is facing right now and since 2014, which is Al-Houthi militia. You cannot have development, stability, normal cultural life when the country is occupied by a very extreme ideological militia. This is really hard. And we are facing not only a military effort or military struggling against this militia. We are, first of all, and the most important thing, facing a very important culture struggling, because you have to educate your people to face such ideological extremists. And I just want to comment about His Excellency Ambassador of Costa Rica when he was talking about the military in his country. We in Yemen used to spend like 70% of our budget on military. But when we had the challenge with the Houthi militia, we didn't succeed to face the problem. If we had spent this money on education and our youth, I believe we wouldn't have this challenge with the Houthi militia. So I totally agree that spending the budget of the country on education is much more important than any other thing else. And also with our struggling in Yemen with this militia, I believe education and culture is the most important thing. You cannot fight ideas and ideologies by bullets, only with ideas and thoughts. And that's what we are trying in Yemeni government. We are trying to do. I will not talk longer. And again, I'm really happy to be here today, and it's a great chance to talk about my country, Yemen. I'm sure you used to hear only about the bad news, about the conflict and war. So I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about the true face of Yemen, which is the beautiful face. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, and that's the idea behind cultural diplomacy, to help complete the picture. Our countries are this and this, but it's also this, this, and this. And I think that's exactly the job of cultural diplomacy, to complete the picture. So I appreciate also having the opportunity. Since you're here, let's take again one brief question. I don't want to totally cut the discussions, even though we are tight on time. Is there a brief comment or a question? Okay, now we'll come to this side of the room. Okay, and in case somebody from Zoom is wanting to jump in, don't be shy.
Good morning, Ambassador. Welcome to ICD again, because we've heard you earlier as well.
Exactly.
My question is regarding the internal conflicts which you also made explicit reference to in your presentation. Do you think internal cultural diplomacy could also play a role in such conflicts and in their resolution? That's it. I'll just keep it very brief.
Exactly. That's what I mentioned, that the culture and education is the main tool to face the extremists and the extreme ideas. So yes, sure, it's a very important tool for us in Yemen, and we are trying hardly and very seriously to use this tool.
Thank you, brief or short. Is there a second question? Yes? All right, since we're here, one brief question.
My pleasure, of course, of course.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My name's Arlette. I'm from the Netherlands. As an aspiring cultural diplomat with someone who's worked in strategic communications in the cultural sector for the last 10 to 15 years, I think, what can we do after hearing your speech and what can we do to help be a part of this movement, of this cultural diplomatic effort to change people's minds and ideas and open maybe the hearts of people to the Yemeni culture and to, I just Googled it very quickly, your beautiful beaches and your beautiful
Yeah, it is really
architecture.
beautiful.
I'm familiar with your food. If you have recommendations in Berlin, I'd be more than happy to explore them. But other than that, what can we do?
First of all, we have restaurants here in Berlin and in Netherlands, a lot in Europe, yes. I believe the most important thing you can do for the culture in Yemen and to help Yemen is to talk about Yemen. Let people know more about Yemen, because our main challenge that since 2020 we had a ceasefire, so nobody hear anymore about Yemen. But the suffering is still there. People are still killed every day by the Houthi militia. What happened is the international community pressed mute on Yemeni people. Die, but silently, don't make noise. So the most important thing for us, for our all friends around the world, is to talk about Yemen and to bring Yemen again to the attention of your friends and your communities.
Excellent. Now let us express our sincere gratitude once again for the ambassador.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.